These are 5 simple rules for data type selection in ClickHouse. First, use strict types. Usually unstructured types means slowness in some kind, so if you can avoid them, do it. Prefer minimal precision types, so whenever you choose a date, a string, and a number, choose the right precision for your data. Avoid nullables if possible, because they add some overhead. Low cardinality for categorical data, they have a huge improvement on compression. And then if you plan to use other types like enums, maps, arrays, evaluate carefully. Arrays are usually fine, but others might need carefully evaluation. Take this into account when choosing your numeric types in your ClickHouse schemas. First, the smallest integer the best, but take into account numeric overflows. There is a decimal data type which is good for amount calculation, and you can use float for the rest, ratios, approximations, etc. And unsigned types are usually compressed, usually better. Use them for IDs or any other column that you are sure it's not negative. Let's take a look at some examples. So we're gonna start by creating a table with 4 numeric types, an unsigned int, and 4 more with different precisions. And what happens if we insert 10 million rows, 10 million consecutive numeric numbers on these columns? What's gonna happen is that the column we set as an integer of 8 bytes is not gonna support our semantic numeric system, and it's gonna overflow. So this is something you have to take into account. On the other hand, there is one interesting thing about numeric precision, which is, let me make this smaller. So as you can see, integer 8 is the one that best compresses, but in this case we cannot use it because we are overflowing, but int 16 is better than numeric data types with higher precision. So take that into account when designing your ClickHouse schemas. Let's try now to make some comparison between float and decimal data types. So first we're going to create a money float table with a price with a float data type and another one with decimal. Okay. Now let's ingest 1 million rows, and let's do the same in the other table, and let's see what happens when we sum the price in the money float table. It's gonna give us this precision, but if we do it in the decimal one, we're gonna see that numbers don't match. Okay, in this case you're gonna trust the decimal data type, so make use of it when you have to do money calculations on ClickHouse. 3 simple tips when designing your schema for strings in ClickHouse. First thing, use fixed string for codes, for instance, country codes. Low cardinality, very important. It's gonna give you huge savings on storage, but also faster group bys and faster query in general. And of course, avoid low cardinality for high cardinality columns. Okay, let's see how low cardinality can improve storage. For our events row table, we have 100 million rows. This is the schema in which we have a country column, which is a string, and we're gonna create a separate table in which we're gonna set the country as a low cardinality fixed string of 2 characters, or 2 bytes in this case. Let's copy data from our events row table. And if you look at system columns filtering by country, you're gonna see that the low cardinality string is much more efficient in storage, which means faster queries in ClickHouse. Let's do a size breakdown of the different string data types. So we're gonna create a table with a column with a string, fixed string, and low cardinality. What we're gonna do in here is we're gonna insert 30 million country codes with this query. And if we take a look at the system columns for this table, we're gonna see low cardinality is the most performant one. Fixed string is not much better than string, but still has some savings in this case because take into account even when we're using string, we're just ingesting rows with the same size, so we don't see savings in here. But so for order or preference, low cardinality for categories, otherwise fixed string, and you can fall back to string for any other text column. These are 3 simple tips to work with dates in ClickHouse, especially when you are designing your schema. As always, choose the right types for your use case, dates for rollups, datetime for events. Use the lowest precision you can. For instance, do you need 9 decimals in your datetimes? Probably not. And about time zones, the right pattern here is you store data in UTC and you convert at query time. Okay, so let's see some example about this. Let's create a table with 3 different date times, and we're gonna ingest 100 million rows, and now we're gonna evaluate the size of each column. So precision matters. Date time is 1 megabyte, 4 times more if you add 3 decimals, and 500 times more if you add 9. So choose the right precision. And about time zones, this is how it works in ClickHouse. You usually store your dates in UTC, and you have functions to translate to any time zone at query time. Nullable columns in ClickHouse, 3 things you have to take into account. First thing is they need more storage because they use an extra bitmap. If null has no special semantics, then use defaults. Otherwise, fall back to nullable. That would be like my advice in this case. Let's see some examples about this. So I'm gonna create a table with a nullable column, and then I'm gonna create a separate one with a default value of 0. Remember, this depends on the semantics of your data. And we're going to insert 100 million rows for each different table, and we can compare the size of each table. And we can see, of course, that the nullable table is a little bit bigger. ClickHouse comes with a set of special data types, and my advice here is very simple. Just stick to simpler types. Choose structured schemas because usually they mean faster queries. In this case, arrays are good. So whenever you need a list of items, you can use arrays for sure. Aggregate functions, you're gonna need them, and we will talk about them in a separate chapter. And about other types, JSON, enums, maps, tuples, UIDs, it basically depends on the use case. I might create a separate video about them, but my advice is clear. Just choose simple types in ClickHouse.